Comfort, like a shadow in the sunlight, appears to offer solace, yet it often blinds us to the deeper realities of life. We live in a world that constantly pulls us towards it, luring us into its warm embrace, suggesting that it holds the keys to peace, happiness, and fulfillment. From the moment we wake, we are surrounded by comfort's soft beds, warm food, and the convenience of modern technology. These comforts are the outward expressions of a life built around ease and pleasure. It is only natural that we seek them, for they provide temporary relief from the harshness of the world, a reprieve from the unyielding forces of nature and the demands of our daily existence. But do not be deceived by the allure of comfort, for it is a fragile illusion, a fleeting and shallow state that offers no lasting satisfaction. Consider for a moment the true cost of comfort. What do we lose when we choose the path of least resistance? What do we forfeit when we avoid discomfort, when we shy away from the very challenges that are the lifeblood of progress? The answer is clear. We lose the opportunity to grow. We lose the chance to discover our own potential, to uncover the depths of our strength, and to experience the richness of life that can only be found in the face of adversity. Comfort is the enemy of growth, for it lulls us into a false sense of security. It tells us that we need not strive, that we have already arrived at the destination of fulfillment. But this is the lie of comfort. It tells us that we are enough as we are, that we need no more, that we have reached the peak of our potential. This is the greatest illusion of all, for it is in the striving, in the pushing beyond our limits, that we come to realize the vastness of our own potential. Comfort tells us we are whole when, in truth, we are but fragments of what we could be. It is through discomfort that we are challenged to become more, to stretch the boundaries of our capacity and reach new heights of achievement. Look to the great philosophers of the Stoic tradition. They did not seek comfort, for they understood that it was in the crucible of hardship where true wisdom was forged. Marcus Aurelius, despite his position as the Emperor of Rome, did not surround himself with luxuries or indulge in the pleasures that came with power. Instead, he lived with a sense of purpose, a commitment to virtue, and an understanding that it was through struggle that one discovered the true measure of one's character. Epictetus, a former slave, endured immense physical suffering and hardship, yet he never wavered in his pursuit of wisdom and inner peace. He recognized that comfort was not the path to greatness, but the acceptance of discomfort was. To understand the nature of comfort, we must first acknowledge its seductive power. It is not the comforts themselves that are harmful, but our attachment to them. We grow dependent on the ease they provide, and in doing so, we relinquish our ability to adapt, to overcome, and to rise above the difficulties that life presents. Comfort tells us that life should be easy, that we deserve pleasure and rest without effort. It convinces us that happiness is something that can be bought or earned by simply acquiring more things, more experiences, or more luxuries. But this is a hollow promise, for happiness born of comfort is fleeting and empty. True fulfillment is not found in the accumulation of pleasures, but in the mastery of the self, in the cultivation of virtues such as courage, wisdom, and resilience. True growth demands discomfort. It demands that we step outside of our comfort zone, that we confront the unknown and embrace the challenges that come with it. It is in these moments of discomfort that we discover what we are truly capable of. It is when we push past the limits of what we thought possible that we begin to realize the vastness of our potential. But this requires a shift in mindset. We must stop seeing discomfort as something to be avoided and start seeing it as the catalyst for transformation. Consider the metaphor of a seed growing into a tree. The seed does not remain safe in the soil, nestled away from the harsh conditions of the outside world. It must break through the earth, face the winds, the rains, and the scorching heat of the sun. It must endure the discomfort of growth in order to reach its full potential. The same is true for us. We must endure the discomfort of growth, for it is through this discomfort that we are shaped and strengthened. It is only by stepping out of our comfort zone that we can begin to expand our horizons and grow into the fullest expression of ourselves. Let us not be deceived by the comforts of life. Let us not fall into the trap of believing that peace and fulfillment can be found in the absence of discomfort. The true path to growth lies beyond the boundaries of comfort, in the challenges, the struggles, and the discomforts that await us. Only by embracing these moments can we uncover the strength and resilience that lie dormant within us. The next time you are faced with discomfort, remember that it is not your enemy. It is the very thing that will help you grow, that will help you become the person you are destined to be. Embrace discomfort, for it is the gateway to your true potential. 2. The pursuit of comfort, a silent enemy of growth. We are told from an early age that comfort is the end goal, the place where we are meant to arrive after a long journey of striving. Society conditions us to believe that comfort equals success, that a life cushioned by ease and pleasure is the pinnacle of human achievement. We are urged to seek the best job, the finest house, the most luxurious experiences, all in pursuit of a life that promises security, pleasure, and freedom from hardship. This is the ideal we are taught to chase, the dream that many believe will bring us peace. But in truth, this pursuit of comfort is a silent enemy, a subtle force that undermines our very potential for growth. The problem lies not in the comforts themselves, but in our attachment to them, in the way we come to rely on them as the measure of our worth. Comfort lulls us into a false sense of security, telling us that we are safe, that we are content, that we have arrived at the destination of happiness. But this safety is a mirage, an illusion. True safety lies not in avoiding risk or discomfort, but in the ability to confront life's challenges with strength, courage, and resilience. The pursuit of comfort keeps us locked in a cycle of complacency, where we avoid the very experiences that would allow us to grow. When we become too comfortable, we lose sight of the things that truly matter: our purpose, our potential, and the opportunities for greatness that lie outside our comfort zone. We come to associate pleasure with success and pain with failure, but this is a flawed view. True happiness, true fulfillment, is not found in the fleeting comforts of life, but in the cultivation of inner virtues, courage, discipline, wisdom, and resilience. These are the qualities that sustain us, not the soft cushions of ease and indulgence. The more we pursue comfort, the more we distance ourselves from the reality of life's challenges. We become accustomed to avoiding discomfort, to seeking the path of least resistance, and in doing so, we diminish our capacity to face adversity. The more we indulge in comfort, the less we are prepared for the inevitable hardships that life will throw our way. Comfort creates a false sense of security, one that is easily shattered when we are confronted with the harshness of reality. When we avoid discomfort, we avoid growth. Growth does not come sitting in the warmth of our homes, surrounded by convenience and pleasure. Growth comes from stepping outside of our comfort zone, from facing the challenges that life presents, and from learning to navigate the difficult terrain of the unknown. It is through discomfort that we learn to develop our strengths, to test our limits, and to become the best versions of ourselves. Comfort keeps us stagnant, but discomfort pushes us forward, urging us to reach higher, to become stronger, and to build the resilience necessary to face whatever challenges may come. The pursuit of comfort creates a life of predictability, where we choose the easy path over the difficult one, the familiar over the unknown. We begin to play it safe, avoiding risks, avoiding failure, and avoiding anything that might disrupt the calm of our daily routine. But in doing so, we forfeit the potential for greatness. The truly great lives are those that are marked by a willingness to embrace discomfort, to challenge the status quo, and to continually strive for improvement. It is not in comfort that greatness is achieved, but in the willingness to endure hardship, to face fear, and to persevere in the face of adversity. If we continue to chase comfort, we will never experience the fullness of life. We will never know what it means to truly push beyond our limits, to test the boundaries of our capabilities, and to rise above the obstacles that stand in our way. Comfort keeps us locked in a small, limited world where we are safe but unfulfilled. True freedom, true fulfillment, is found not in avoiding discomfort, but in embracing it. It is in the courage to face the unknown, to confront our fears, and to grow through the challenges we encounter. The Stoics understood this principle deeply. They knew that life's true value lies not in the absence of suffering, but in our ability to endure it with grace, wisdom, and strength. They understood that comfort was not the path to happiness, but that happiness was found in the mastery of the self, in the pursuit of virtue, and in the acceptance of life's inevitable difficulties. The Stoic life is one of constant growth, of continuous self-improvement, and of embracing discomfort as the means by which we cultivate resilience and inner peace. So, I ask you now, what is the price of comfort? What is the cost of choosing the easy path, the safe path, the comfortable path? The price is your potential. 3. The courage to face discomfort, the path to mastery. To face discomfort is not merely an act of endurance, it is a declaration of our intent to master ourselves, to transcend the limitations of our present state, and to step boldly into the arena of growth. Courage is the virtue that allows us to confront the unknown, to walk directly into the storm rather than retreating from it, for in discomfort lies the seed of our greatest transformation. It is only through facing the challenges that life presents with resolve and steadfastness that we unlock the doors to a higher form of existence. The Stoics did not shy away from hardship. They embraced it, for they knew that it was in adversity that they would discover their true potential. The fear of discomfort is a natural human instinct rooted in the primal desire for safety and survival. It is this fear that keeps us confined within the borders of our comfort zone, chained to the familiar, unwilling to venture into the uncharted territories of the unknown. But we must understand that this fear is not our ally. It is the very thing that prevents us from achieving greatness. We are not defined by the comforts we accumulate, but by our ability to face discomfort with courage, to rise above the trials that life presents, and to continue moving forward despite the obstacles in our path. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward in spite of it. It is the decision to act in accordance with our values, to remain true to our purpose, even when the path before us is fraught with uncertainty. It is easy to be courageous when the outcome is assured, when we know that success is guaranteed. But true courage is tested in the face of uncertainty, in the presence of fear, and in the discomfort of the unknown. It is only when we push ourselves beyond our limits, when we venture into territory that makes us uncomfortable, that we come to realize the depths of our strength. The path to mastery is not paved with ease. It is carved through struggle, perseverance, and discomfort. Every master, whether in the realm of philosophy, art, or leadership, has faced moments of intense difficulty, moments when the weight of their chosen path seemed unbearable. But it is precisely in these moments that they found the opportunity for growth. It is in discomfort that we sharpen our skills, test our resolve, and forge the character that will allow us to overcome the challenges of life. Look at the lives of the Stoic philosophers: Epictetus, who endured the brutality of slavery; Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire while confronting the inner turmoil of leadership; Seneca, who faced exile and personal loss. Each of them faced immense discomfort, yet they chose to embrace it, to face it head-on, knowing that it was through these experiences that they would develop the wisdom, fortitude, and resilience necessary to live a virtuous life. They did not seek to avoid discomfort, but to use it as a catalyst for their own personal growth. In the face of discomfort, we must ask ourselves, what is the purpose of this challenge? What can I learn from this experience? The ability to see discomfort as an opportunity for growth, rather than something to be feared or avoided, is a hallmark of wisdom. The discomfort we encounter in life is not a random event, but a purposeful part of the process of self-transformation. Each challenge, each difficulty is a test that reveals to us the depths of our own character, the strength we possess within ourselves, and the resilience that lies dormant, waiting to be awakened. Consider the metaphor of a blacksmith forging a blade. The metal is heated to a boiling point, hammered and shaped, and immersed in water to cool. Only through this process of intense heat and pressure can the metal become a strong, sharp, and durable weapon. The same is true for us. It is through the heat of adversity, the hammering of our resolve, and the cooling of our patience that we are shaped into individuals of strength and wisdom. Comfort does not forge greatness, discomfort does. It is through the challenges we face that we develop the skills, resilience, and wisdom necessary to rise above life's difficulties. The courage to face discomfort is not only essential for personal growth, but for the fulfillment of our higher purpose. Each of us has a unique contribution to make to the world, a purpose that transcends our own desires for ease and comfort. But this purpose can only be realized through action, and action requires courage. It is easy to remain passive, to avoid the difficult decisions and uncomfortable situations that life presents. But in doing so, we deny ourselves the opportunity to fulfill our true potential. It is through the active pursuit of our purpose, despite the discomforts and challenges we may encounter, that we come to understand the meaning of life. The courage to face discomfort is what enables us to rise above the ordinary and to reach for the extraordinary. When we choose to step into the unknown, when we choose to confront the challenges that seem insurmountable, we discover new strengths within ourselves that we never knew existed. We realize that we are capable of much more than we had imagined, and that the discomfort we once feared was merely a veil obscuring our true power. This courage is not born overnight. It is cultivated through consistent practice, through a commitment to stepping outside our comfort zone, through a willingness to embrace the discomforts that life brings. Each time we confront discomfort, we grow stronger. Each time we face our fears, we become more resilient. The more we practice courage, the easier it becomes to embrace discomfort and the greater our capacity for growth. To master discomfort is to master life itself. It is to acknowledge that life will not always be easy, but that we have the ability to endure, to adapt, and to thrive. We are not passive observers of life's challenges, we are active participants, and it is through our active engagement with discomfort that we shape our destiny. The courageous individual does not wait for the storms of life to pass. They face them head-on, knowing that the storms are not their enemy, but their teacher. So I urge you now to ask yourself, what discomfort am I avoiding? What challenges am I running from? The courage to face these discomforts is the key to your growth. It is the path to mastery, to self-realization, and to the fulfillment of your higher purpose. Do not shy away from discomfort. Do not retreat from the challenges that life presents. Embrace them, for they are the very things that will forge you into the person you were meant to become. The courage to face discomfort is the path to mastery, and it is only through this path that we can achieve greatness. 4. The power of adversity, how struggles forge strength. Adversity is not something to be feared or avoided. It is not an obstacle in our path, but the very forge in which our character is tested and strengthened. It is easy to look at life's challenges, loss, hardship, failure as burdens to bear, as moments of suffering that rob us of peace and joy. But this view is misguided. The Stoics understood that adversity is not only an inevitable part of life, it is the very thing that prepares us for greatness. In facing adversity, we do not simply endure, we transform. Adversity, when embraced and faced with resolve, becomes the crucible in which our inner strength is formed. The struggles we face shape us, define us, and reveal to us the depth of our resilience. Consider the life of Epictetus, who was born into slavery and faced unimaginable suffering. He had no riches, no power, no privileges, yet he became one of the greatest philosophers in history. His life was filled with adversity, but rather than being crushed by it, he used it as the fuel for his personal transformation. He saw every hardship, every injustice, not as a hindrance, but as an opportunity to grow in wisdom, virtue, and inner strength. His teachings show us that it is not the circumstances of life that determine our fate, but how we choose to respond to them. Adversity for Epictetus was the path to freedom. Adversity challenges us in ways that comfort never can. It forces us to look beyond the surface, to dig deep into the well of our own inner resources, and to summon the strength we did not know we had. It is in moments of hardship that we are pushed to test our limits, to stretch beyond what we thought possible, and to redefine who we are. When life is easy, we are lulled into complacency, content with the familiar, and unwilling to challenge ourselves. But when adversity strikes, it wakes us up. It forces us to confront our weaknesses, to shed the layers of illusion, and to become the person we are capable of being. The Stoics did not seek to eliminate suffering, but to embrace it as a natural and necessary part of life. Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, faced countless difficulties during his reign. He dealt with wars, plagues, and the constant pressures of leadership, yet he found strength in these struggles. In his meditations, he reminds himself that it is not the hardships we face that matter, but how we respond to them. The impediment to action advances action, he wrote. What stands in the way becomes the way. This profound understanding teaches us that adversity is not a roadblock, it is the path itself. It is through the very struggles that life throws our way that we find the opportunity for growth. Adversity does not just test our strength, it also refines our character. When we face challenges, we are forced to make choices. We can succumb to fear, bitterness, or despair, or we can rise above, cultivating virtues like patience, resilience, and perseverance. The way we respond to adversity reveals the true measure of our character. It is easy to be virtuous when life is smooth and easy, but it is in the face of difficulty that our virtues are truly put to the test. How we handle adversity determines the person we become. There is no growth without struggle. We cannot become the best version of ourselves by avoiding pain or discomfort. To live a life of purpose and meaning, we must actively engage with the challenges that arise in our lives. Growth comes when we face adversity head-on, when we push through the moments of doubt and difficulty, and when we refuse to let obstacles define us. The moments that seem most painful, most insurmountable, are often the very ones that offer the greatest opportunities for growth. It is through overcoming adversity that we come to understand our true strength, our true potential. Think of the metaphor of a tree growing through a storm. The wind may bend its branches and the rain may batter its leaves, but the tree does not break. It stands firm, growing stronger with each passing storm. The same is true for us. The storms of life, whether they are personal loss, failure, or hardship, do not break us. They test our resilience, but they also make us stronger. With each challenge we face, we grow more rooted in our purpose, more determined to stand tall, and more capable of weathering the next storm that comes our way. The power of adversity lies in its ability to transform us. It forces us to ask difficult questions. What is truly important to me? What am I willing to fight for? What kind of person do I want to become? These are questions that comfort never asks. Only in adversity do we face the fundamental truths about ourselves. Only in struggle do we discover the depths of our resilience, our courage, and our ability to persevere in the face of hardship. To embrace adversity is to embrace the process of becoming. It is to understand that we are not defined by our circumstances, but by how we respond to them. It is easy to allow ourselves to be consumed by frustration, anger, or fear when life becomes difficult. But the Stoic path teaches us to remain calm and composed, to find peace within ourselves even when the world around us is in chaos. It teaches us that we have the power to choose our response to adversity, and that in doing so we take control of our destiny. Adversity is the forge of the soul. It is through the fire of hardship that we are shaped into individuals of strength and wisdom. The struggles we face may be painful, but they are also essential for our growth. We must not shy away from them, but embrace them, knowing that it is in adversity that we find our true power. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow, to refine our character, and to discover the strength within us that we never knew existed. The power of adversity lies not in its ability to break us, but in its ability to make us stronger. It is through adversity that we discover who we truly are and what we are truly capable of. So when faced with hardship, do not despair. Do not run from the struggle. Embrace it. Welcome it as the opportunity it is. For it is through adversity that you will be forged into the person you are meant to become. It is in the fire of struggle that your true strength will be revealed. 5. The art of detachment, letting go to grow. Detachment is not about indifference or apathy. It is about freeing ourselves from the chains of attachment to things, outcomes, and people that hinder our growth. It is the art of letting go not as an act of surrender, but as an act of strength. In the pursuit of growth and self-mastery, we must learn to detach ourselves from the fleeting, transient nature of the external world. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes not from controlling the world around us, but from mastering our inner world, from releasing our attachment to anything that we cannot control. To live with purpose, we must learn to let go of the things that hold us back, to detach ourselves from the desires, fears, and expectations that enslave us to the whims of fate. The modern world has conditioned us to cling to possessions, to relationships, to status, to success. We are taught to define ourselves by what we have, by what we do, and by how others perceive us. This attachment to external things is a source of constant anxiety and dissatisfaction. We live in a world of comparison where the pursuit of material wealth and social approval often takes precedence over the cultivation of inner peace and virtue. We chase after things that promise happiness but deliver only fleeting satisfaction, leaving us empty and longing for more. But the Stoic view is different. The Stoics understood that true happiness, true contentment lies not in the accumulation of external possessions, but in the cultivation of internal virtues. When we detach ourselves from the things of this world, we open ourselves up to the lasting peace that comes from within. Consider the words of Epictetus, who taught that freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. To detach ourselves from the things of the world is not to reject them, but to understand their true place in our lives. We do not need to possess wealth, status, or material comforts to be happy, for happiness is found in the mastery of our own mind, in the cultivation of virtues like wisdom, courage, and justice. These internal qualities are within our control, and it is by focusing on them that we achieve true fulfillment. The things of this world, on the other hand, are transient and beyond our control. They come and go, and to cling to them is to subject ourselves to the whims of fate. The act of detachment does not mean that we become emotionless or uncaring. On the contrary, it allows us to love more deeply, to engage with the world more fully, and to give without attachment. When we are attached to something, we hold on to it with a sense of possession, as if our happiness depends on it. This attachment leads to fear and anxiety, fear of losing what we hold dear, fear of not achieving the outcome we desire. But when we detach, we free ourselves from this fear. We can love without clinging, work without obsession, and pursue our goals without being defined by the outcomes. We understand that our worth is not tied to what we have or what we achieve, but to who we are as individuals. Letting go also means releasing our attachment to the opinions of others. We often tie our self-worth to how others perceive us, whether they approve of our actions, admire our achievements, or validate our choices. But the Stoics teach that we should never place our value in the hands of others. Our worth comes from within, from our own actions and virtues, not from the approval or judgment of others. When we detach ourselves from the need for external validation, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of comparison and self-doubt. That we no longer seek to please others, but to live in accordance with our own principles, our own understanding of what is right and right. Detachment is not about withdrawing from life, but about engaging with life in a way that is free from attachment and desire. It is about living with intention, with focus on what truly matters, without being distracted by the distractions of the world. The Stoic sage is not a passive observer detached from the world, but an active participant who engages with the world in a way that is mindful, deliberate, and virtuous. Detachment allows us to live with clarity and purpose, free from the clutter of unnecessary desires and distractions. The process of detachment is not easy. It requires discipline, self-awareness, and constant practice. We are conditioned from an early age to attach ourselves to things, to define our worth by external measures. But true freedom comes when we break free from these attachments and begin to define ourselves by the values we hold dear, by the virtues we cultivate, and by the choices we make in accordance with our higher purpose. Detachment is a lifelong practice, one that requires patience and persistence, but it is a practice that leads to a life of peace, clarity, and fulfillment. Consider the Stoic practice of voluntary discomfort. The Stoics would occasionally choose to live without certain comforts, not because they were opposed to comfort, but to remind themselves that they were not dependent on external things for their happiness. By voluntarily stepping into discomfort, they trained themselves to detach from their desires and to live in harmony with nature, accepting the ebb and flow of life without clinging to anything. This practice of detachment helped them build resilience and inner strength, for it taught them that their happiness was not tied to external circumstances, but to their own ability to control their responses and maintain inner peace. In detaching from the things of the world, we do not become cold or indifferent. We simply become more focused, more present, and more capable of living in accordance with our true purpose. We learn to let go of the things that distract us, the things that weigh us down, and the things that hold us back from living a life of meaning and virtue. Detachment allows us to live with greater freedom, greater joy, and greater peace, for it is only when we let go of the things we cannot control that we make space for the things that truly matter. The true art of detachment is not about renouncing the world, but about accepting it as it is and understanding our place within it. It is about recognizing that we cannot control the events of the world, the actions of others, or the outcomes of our efforts, but we can control how we respond to them. We can choose to live with virtue, to pursue wisdom, and to act with courage and justice, regardless of what the world throws our way. This is the path to true freedom, the freedom to live in alignment with our deepest values, unencumbered by the distractions and attachments of the world around us. So I ask you now, what are you holding on to that is holding you back? What attachments are keeping you from growth, from freedom, and from peace? The art of detachment is the path to true liberation. Let go of the things that no longer serve you. Free yourself from the tyranny of attachment and embrace the power of inner peace, clarity, and purpose. Let go, not as an act of surrender, but as an act of strength. Let go and you will find the freedom to grow, to live, and to become the person you are meant to be. 6. The strength of patience, cultivating calm in the storm. Patience is not simply the ability to wait, it is the ability to remain calm, composed, and steadfast amidst the turmoil of life. In a world that demands immediacy, where instant gratification is the norm, the practice of patience is an act of defiance, a refusal to succumb to the pressures of haste, distraction, and superficial urgency. True strength lies not in quick action or reckless pursuit, but in the quiet, unshakable resolve to remain steady in the face of adversity. Patience is a virtue that allows us to weather the storms of life with grace, to endure hardship without being consumed by it, and to move toward our goals with unwavering determination, no matter how long it may take. Patience is often misunderstood as mere passivity, as if to wait is to do nothing. In reality, patience is active. It requires a deep inner strength, a conscious choice to remain undisturbed and unshaken, even when the world around us is in turmoil. Patience means choosing not to react impulsively, to resist the urge to rush into action, and to trust in the process. It is a mindset that acknowledges that the journey is just as important as the destination, that every moment, every setback, and every delay has its own value. The path to wisdom and growth is rarely immediate. It requires time, persistence, and the ability to endure the long, often arduous journey with patience and fortitude. Think of a sculptor working with a block of marble. The sculptor does not rush to reveal the final shape. Instead, they work slowly, carefully chiseling away bit by bit with patience and precision. Each strike of the chisel, no matter how small, brings them closer to the masterpiece they are creating. The same is true for our lives. We are constantly chiseling away at the marble of our character, shaping ourselves into the person we aspire to as society. This process cannot be hurried. Growth takes time, transformation is slow, and it is through the patient, deliberate actions we take each day that we build the life we desire. In our fast-paced world, we are often tempted to rush toward our goals, to push ourselves forward without regard for the pace of our own development. We want success now, happiness now, recognition now. But this impatience blinds us to the deeper, more meaningful process of growth. It prevents us from seeing the lessons that come with delay, the wisdom that comes with waiting. When we rush, we miss the opportunity to learn from the journey itself, to grow in ways that go beyond the surface. Patience teaches us to focus not on the end result, but on the process. It teaches us to trust that, with time, our efforts will bear fruit, even if we do not see immediate results. Patience also enables us to deal with the inevitable setbacks and disappointments that arise in life. Life is rarely a smooth, uninterrupted path to success. There will be failures, missteps, and moments of doubt. It is in these moments that patience is most necessary. When things do not go as planned, we must resist the urge to give up or to abandon our efforts. Instead, we must cultivate the patience to accept setbacks as a natural part of the process and to persevere despite them. As Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The ability to remain patient in the face of difficulty is what separates those who succeed from those who falter. Patience allows us to continue moving forward, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. The practice of patience also allows us to develop the wisdom to know when to act and when to wait. It is easy to become impatient and take hasty actions, driven by the need to feel productive or to see immediate results. But true wisdom lies in knowing that some things require time to unfold. Just as a seed needs time to grow into a tree, so too do our plans, our goals, and our relationships require time and attention. The Stoics did not advocate for passivity, but for deliberate action at the right time with full awareness and understanding. Patience teaches us to listen to the rhythm of life, to understand that not everything is meant to happen in an instant, and that wisdom comes from knowing when to act and when to wait. Consider the example of a warrior preparing for battle. The warrior does not rush headlong into the fray without thought. They wait for the right moment, studying the battlefield, learning the terrain, and understanding the strategy. They wait for the perfect opportunity to strike, knowing that timing is everything. The warrior's patience is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. They understand that rushing into action without preparation leads only to failure, while patient, deliberate action leads to victory. So too must we approach life with patience, waiting for the right moment to act, and trusting that our time will come. Patience is also essential for developing resilience. In the face of difficulty or hardship, it is easy to feel defeated or overwhelmed. But patience teaches us to stay grounded, to remain steady in the storm. It reminds us that we do not have to solve everything at once, that we can take things one step at a time, and that every challenge, no matter how daunting, can be overcome with persistence and calm. When we practice patience, we build the mental, emotional resilience to endure hardship without being broken by it. We become like the oak tree in the storm, standing firm even when the winds of life blow fiercely. Patience is a skill that we can cultivate, but it requires intentional practice. It requires us to slow down, to breathe, and to be present in each moment. It requires us to let go of the need for instant results and to trust in the process. It requires us to be kind to ourselves when things do not go as planned, and to remember that every setback is an opportunity to grow stronger. The journey of life is long, and there is no need to rush. The more we practice patience, the more we learn to savor the journey, to appreciate the small victories, and to find contentment in the present moment. So, in the face of adversity, in moments of delay, in times of frustration, remember the strength of patience. Patience is not about waiting passively, but about taking action with purpose, without attachment to the outcome, and trusting that everything will unfold in its own time. Patience is the steady hand on the wheel, guiding us through the storm. It is the calm within the chaos. It is the quiet strength that allows us to continue on the path, no matter how long it may take, knowing that each step brings us closer to our true purpose. Embrace patience, for it is the foundation upon which all other virtues are built. 7. Embrace suffering, the gateway to strength and growth. Suffering is an unavoidable part of life. It is a reality that all must face, regardless of age, status, or wealth. Yet in our modern world, suffering is often viewed as something to be avoided at all costs, something to be feared and escaped. We seek comfort, security, and pleasure, avoiding pain and hardship whenever possible. But the Stoics, with their deep wisdom, understood that suffering, far from being a curse, is a powerful catalyst for growth and transformation. It is through suffering that we are shaped, that our true strength is forged. Suffering, if embraced with the right mindset, becomes not an obstacle, but a gateway to the highest forms of resilience, wisdom, and character. The first step in embracing suffering is to understand its role in our lives. Life is inherently filled with difficulties, challenges, and moments of pain. These experiences are not random, they are a natural part of the human condition. Whether it is the loss of a loved one, the failure of a dream, the betrayal of a friend, or the daily struggles of existence, suffering is inevitable. But what separates the Stoic from the ordinary person is how we respond to suffering. The Stoic does not resist pain, does not try to escape it, but meets it head-on with acceptance and resolve. They understand that suffering is an essential part of life's design, a force that can either break us or strengthen us, depending on how we choose to face it. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Just as the body grows stronger through exercise and physical exertion, so too does the mind and spirit grow stronger through the trials and tribulations. When we embrace suffering, we allow it to shape us into the people we are meant to become. It is through enduring hardship with dignity, through standing firm in the face of adversity, that we build the inner fortitude to withstand future challenges. The Stoics believed that the trials of life were not to be feared, but to be welcomed as opportunities for growth. They understood that suffering, when faced with the proper attitude, is an essential part of the journey toward wisdom and virtue. But this is not to say that suffering is easy or pleasant. Far from it. Pain is real, and the weight of sorrow can feel unbearable at times. The Stoics did not deny the existence of pain or seek to minimize it. Instead, they focused on how to navigate it with grace and dignity. The Stoic practice is not one of denial, but of acceptance. We do not pretend that suffering does not exist, but we choose to face it with courage, knowing that it is temporary and that it can be transcended. It is in those moments of hardship that we have the greatest opportunity to demonstrate our resilience and inner strength. The second step in embracing suffering is to recognize that it is not the suffering itself, but how we react to it, that determines our experience. Suffering becomes unbearable when we resist it, when we fight against it with all our might, when we dwell on it and allow it to consume our thoughts. The Stoics teach us that we cannot control the events that cause us pain, but we can control how we respond to them. When we resist suffering, we amplify it. When we accept it and face it with equanimity, we diminish its power over us. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In this simple yet profound truth, we find the key to transcending suffering. Consider a stone in the river. The river does not fight the stone, it flows around it, accepting its presence without resistance. The river's power lies not in its ability to avoid obstacles, but in its capacity to flow through them. So too must we learn to flow through the difficulties of life. We must accept that suffering will come, but we must also recognize that we have the power to choose our response. We can choose to become bitter, resentful, and angry, or we can choose to become wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. The Stoics teach us to cultivate an attitude of acceptance, to meet suffering with calmness, and to transform our pain into an opportunity for growth. There is a profound truth in the Stoic idea of amor fati, love of fate. This is the practice of not merely accepting whatever happens to us, but loving it, embracing it as part of the journey. The Stoic understands that everything, both good and bad, is part of the grand design of life. Even suffering in this view is not something to be avoided or resented, but something to be welcomed, for it is through suffering that we develop the virtues of patience, courage, and endurance. By loving our fate, we cease to fight against the storms of life and instead learn to dance in the rain. We cease to view suffering as an enemy and instead see it as a teacher, guiding us toward greater wisdom and inner peace. The Stoic practice of viewing suffering as a teacher is key to transforming our experience of pain. Instead of asking, "Why me?" in the face of hardship, the Stoic asks, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in perspective transforms suffering from a source of bitterness into a source of insight. Every challenge, every setback, holds within it a lesson, an opportunity to refine our character, to practice virtue, and to grow stronger. The Stoic does not waste time lamenting the unfairness of life. Instead, they focus on what is within their control, their response. By focusing on the lessons in suffering, we transform pain into purpose, hardship into growth. Moreover, suffering teaches us to value the present moment. When we are in the midst of pain, the things that once seemed important, material, wealth, status, the opinions of others lose their significance. We are reminded of the fragility of life, and this reminder brings us back to the present, to what truly matters. Suffering, in this sense, is a teacher of priorities. It strips away the illusions and distractions that cloud our judgment, leaving us with a clearer sense of what is truly important. We learn to appreciate the small moments, the simple joys, and the people who matter most. The Stoic approach to suffering is not about avoiding pain or pretending that it does not exist. It is about changing our relationship with pain, accepting it as part of life, and using it as a tool for growth. Suffering is inevitable, but it is not the end of the story. Through suffering, we are given the opportunity to rise above, to demonstrate our resilience, and to transform our pain into wisdom and strength. When we embrace suffering, we embrace the fullness of life itself, with all its challenges and rewards. We grow, we learn, and we become the strongest, most virtuous versions of ourselves. So I ask you, when you face suffering, will you fight against it, or will you embrace it as an opportunity for growth? Will you allow pain to break you, or will you use it to build yourself into a stronger, wiser, and more compassionate person? The choice is yours. The Stoic path is not one of avoiding suffering, but one of facing it with courage, acceptance, and an open heart. Embrace suffering, and in doing so, embrace the true potential for growth that lies within it.